So Dana, how are you? How is it having a full workshop day and getting prepared for a session? How are you with the energy? Is the coffee here good?
Well, not the best coffee. I'm saying that because my boyfriend is a barista, so I have a very high bar in
Okay.
terms of coffee.
Okay.
The workshop, well, it was very energizing actually. The crowd was very engaging, so it went really well.
Okay. So welcome everyone. We are live at Romanian Testing Conference 2023. It's the first season of Shift Happens podcast, and we are here with Dana Aonofriesei. So good morning, Dana. We're gonna start by asking you to introduce yourself briefly.
Good morning. So I'm Dana. I'm from Romania, from actually northeast of Romania. I lived in Bucharest for 11 years, and for the last 6 years, I've been living in Copenhagen. At the moment, I'm director of engineering for a company called Trustpilot, working in the reviews area, collecting and showcasing reviews.
Reviews for
Any business,
any
any shop,
business.
for your experience with a business or a company.
Okay. This is like a really powerful tool these days, right? Everyone is willing to share their experience through reviews, and it's like what at least the public consider is the tool to make the businesses improve the quality of their services and products. Does it work this way, or is just what we think?
Exactly. So, based on the content shared by the users, we can provide insights to the businesses on areas to improve delivery, customer service, whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. What made you take this decision to move from Romania to Denmark? Is it a professional based decision? Is it a personal based decision? A mix?
At that moment, it was more professional. So, I was curious to work in a, let's say, in a modern company, progressive with progressive mindset, where the companies building their own product. As you know, in Romania, there's a lot of outsourcing culture, and that's a different way of working, different mindset. So I was curious about that, and this is how I end up in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even though there's been a change lately, right? There's a lot of investment that happened in the Romanian IT startups, right? And a lot of even millions of dollars or euros being invested in companies that have their own products. But it's not like in other countries still, yes. And this is quite a challenge that we have because in the IT industry, we are always connected with the whole world, and we know what others are targeting, maybe even technical wise, right? And when we understand that we can do this when we are in the outsourcing business, for me, it's a bit unclear. Maybe you can have a view from your director position, but I don't understand why is it not possible to apply the same standards even if you are building a product, or if you are in outsourcing building product for somebody else. Why is it different? Why can I have my testing budget from the beginning of the project like I think you do when you start building your own product, for example?
I think the answer is related to the ownership model. Right? When you build your own product, like the CTO, the product officer, the directors, they are responsible for the quality of that product. So the accountability is really there. When you have this outsourcing model, it's almost like you delegate that ownership to someone else, and then you have to maintain that let's say that relationship. So yeah, that's the biggest change or difference.
But is the management understanding the impact? Because all the time, it can start from the management or it can start from the technical position in the team, but do they understand the impact they have on the other side? Like, do the managers understand that if they take some decision can have a negative impact on the quality of the product? Or do the developers, testers understand that if they are not fully responsible and accountable for their decision, it will have a bad impact on the budget of the project, and in the end you will have, I don't know, less time, less money to do the things in the right way? And I feel that, I mean, I've been like in the middle as tech lead positions in the last years. I've been like in the middle, and I feel there's a battle here, and I don't know how to tackle it. I'm just asking if you have any advice here, and if you feel if things have changed a bit lately on this matter, or we are still facing the same issues.
I think there is a disconnect. You're right there. My hope is that with the rise of AI and machine learning, we will be able to be more precise in saying, the areas of your product that have the highest risk and what your, let's say, testing budget should be. Now it's not so precise, right?
AI could help on this analysis.
Exactly. So you can, imagine you have machine learning looking at your historical data about, areas with the most problems, production incidents, bugs, and so on. And then you can have a clear answer before you ship to production that, hey, you should test in this area because this is where you usually had the most problems and the most changes.
Yeah.
So then that conversation will be way much easier, right, in terms of testing
Indeed.
budget.
Indeed, could really improve the collaboration here. Yeah, I can understand that. But if you already mentioned it, okay, I understand this will be a good point. But is there anything that frightens you about AI?
Um, at the
Myself, I think there are some powerful people behind some powerful tools that are being built this day with general applicability, and I'm not sure they are ready to say, okay, now I'm going down the slope where I do harm with my technology, and I'm ready to cut some profits to stop the damage I can make with this tool, because can be like a negative impact, right? People are worried that AI will steal hundreds of thousands of jobs. Like this could be like a big impact for the whole world, and starting from this can be like impacting some people, and then indirectly they will impact others and the economy and so on.
I have two things to mention related to AI. So there are studies showing that leaders and also employees, they're not afraid of their job being taken by AI, but they look for that productivity gain by using AI in their job.
Okay.
That's one thing. And then in terms of doing harm with that technology, I think it's related to not having the compliance and the regulation in place just yet. And let's be honest, it's a bit behind with how fast technology is evolving.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
that's my main concern. I'm not concerned so much about AI taking jobs. I think it will help us in doing our job better, in working smarter, and all of that.
Okay. Maybe it's just the fake news that I've been reading. Yeah. The real studies show differently, right?
And also, let's acknowledge that with every new technology out there, there will be a need of new jobs.
Indeed.
For sure, in a few years, there will be jobs that we can't even think about at the moment. Also in the ethical space of AI, right? I
Indeed.
think we'll have, let's say, testers or something
Yeah,
similar.
we've been discussing about this in other episodes about the ethical part and the fact that you would need actually like a human supervisor of the outcome of and the quality of data that AI is producing. Indeed, yeah. Donna, let me go back a bit in the relation that you have with RTC. So you've been here 6 years ago, right? As a participant?
Yeah, I don't remember if 6 years or maybe a bit more, 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah,
But it was your first interaction, right? You were a
exactly.
participant. And now you are a speaker, you had the workshop, you have a speech that you will give today, right?
Yeah.
So, how was it? How did you decide to make this switch from the RTC participant to RTC speaker? Maybe we encourage others to do the same.
Absolutely. Well, I guess my way to bring impact in the IT industry is by sharing my learnings.
Okay.
So that was one of the motivation to be a speaker here.
Okay. So this means that it's not the first conference that you are attending, right?
No, I've been doing public speaking for the last, let's see, 8 years, I think. Yeah, 8 years. Yeah, so I have this target for myself to do two events per year at least.
Okay, okay. It's always good to set some targets. Yeah. So, by the way, have you ever thought about the next level? So you are a participant, you're a speaker. What would be the next step?
I guess I could get even more involved with the community. I don't know, like be more active in organizing such events. Deciding the relevant theme of an event, and
Yeah, yeah.
that could be a path.
Great, great. I wanna discuss another topic with you, and this is women in leadership. Okay, so you are director of engineering at Trustpilot. Is it? Do you find any challenges? How is it for a woman to have this position? Did you feel that you had any issues? Did you feel that you had to fight with some men for that position? Uh, did you have any advantages or disadvantages? How are things in this area? Or the IT industry doesn't look like, I don't know, the movie industry that we know. A lot of news are about how women are not being treated the same like men. Is it the same in the IT? How was it for you?
For sure, it depends a lot on the place you end up. A trust pilot, I don't remember, like very big obstacles in this journey. I also have my peer, the other director of engineering. She's also a woman, and she's also from Romania.
Really? Yeah.
So I think you know it helps even more when there is more representation at that level. People get used to it. It's a normal thing. You don't have to fight for it extra. You just bring your skills and expertise to the table.
Okay. Okay.
For sure, it's still a challenge in the hiring process, like hiring individual contributors, software engineers. The balance is not there yet.
I'm asking also because 10 or 11 years ago I was a student. Actually, it was a master program in University of Polytechnic University of Bucharest, and we had a course on management. And at some point, we were discussing about managing teams, and there was this guy that was like a country manager for a big company here, and he was mentioning that it's difficult sometimes with women in tech or leadership because they can have some personal constraint that men do not have. Probably he was mainly thinking about having babies and so on. And the fact that if you build a company and you start relying on some key members in the team, then you might find yourself in a challenging time of the company, and could be difficult to have a women in a big position. And I I was too young then to take some, like, to have an opinion on that, but I just kept that idea in somewhere in the background, and that's why I was curious, how is it seen these days from leadership point of view.
For sure, the challenge is still there. I mean, we know there are plenty of studies showing that when women have their first baby, many do not return in the professional life, and that's because usually women take the caregiver role,
Yeah,
and then men have the opportunity to continue their career. For sure, it's going back to I guess the policies available in a country. For example, in Denmark, you have 9 years, 9 months as a maternity leave, and then you can come back to work after 9 months. It's still quite a big break, but it's not as big as 2 years.
yeah.
But then you can return to work after 9 months because then you have this support with childcare from the government. In the countries where you don't have that support, then you have to stay home with your baby for 2 years, and then the gap is
Yeah, I
is big.
understand. Was it more difficult to be in tech or in leadership, or is it the same? It has challenges no matter if it's more tech or more leadership. Is just different now. How did you felt it?
For women or in
For
general.
you.
I think the leadership one has more challenges, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you have to mix, the strategic part with also, being involved in the execution, having that, let's say, high standard of operational excellence, also building relationships with everyone around you. So, yeah.
But how is it that you decide? Like, I know there are two parallel paths that you can follow, right? You can start by being a junior in tech, and then you can become like a principal developer or tester or whatever, or distinguished, or I don't know how many names are there in the world. And then you have the path of leadership, right? How do you decide to switch from the tech path to the leadership path? Is it just a moment when you make a click and you understand yourself that you would be better on that path? Or is it the people around that inspire you to move on the other side? Like, again, I'm thinking also to my personal experience and the fact that I've been studying like more than 20 years to become a better and better technical specialist, and I want to understand how others think. If How do you move to the other?
What I noticed from coaching and mentoring and managing software engineers in my teams, for some, it's very clear their path. They know they want to be a manager, and they're loud about it, and they actively, let's say, learn and do things in that direction. And then there are others who are like, I don't know what I want to do next. And then with those cases, it's important to provide them exposure.
Okay.
So, they get a glimpse of what could it mean to be a manager. And then they decide, okay, no, I want to stay with individual contributor. I'm passionate about software engineering. So you're right. It's also important, what they see around them, the role models, the inspiration around them, and also the opportunities that managers can provide to their employees to try out things and to be exposed to.
Does it help to attend conference like RTC and hear the stories of others? This is can this make a click and tell you, oh, I really love that guy on the stage there. I want to do what he is or her is doing.
Absolutely. So I remember my first meetup in Bucharest. Um, it was a panel discussion, very, very interesting, very good speakers. And at the end of that session, I was like, I want to do that. I felt so good by watching this. I want to be on the stage in the panel conversation. So for
Yeah.
sure, it's really important what you are doing with the conference.
But you have to get out there from time to time, right? You cannot stay in your own home or home office. From time to time, you have to get out there because there are some cases when you can get inspired just by listening to a podcast or watching a video or something. I remember I was listening a podcast recently, and at the end, that guy was saying a thing that made me. I was alone in my room and I was listening, and it just made me applause. I felt like I was there in. I mean, it was recorded in a big conference room, and I felt like I was there, and I wanted to give him applause for what he said, and I felt it through the microphone. But most of the time, it's about being there, meeting, connecting, getting the energy of the people that it's in front of you, right?
Absolutely, and the same with your job. It's about going for those opportunities, asking for opportunities, and raise your hand and say, I want to try to be a manager. So yeah, it's very important to put yourself out there.
We've seen on your LinkedIn account that you do two things actually, one-on-ones, right? And walking, right? You have a milestone of 10,000 steps per day, and sometimes you mix them. Is it in person one-on-one, right? So you are
Yes.
together there and you're just walking. First of all, I was really found to it was really nice to read about this. I've read it a lot of times that one-on-ones are like the most powerful tool in leadership, and we should have this all the time, no matter if we are on a tech level or in a higher leadership level. You just have to be there from time to time with the people in your team. How was it for you? How did you decide to do this, and how is it working?
So for sure, I'm very loyal to this idea of one-to-ones and recurrent and frequent one-to-ones. In some cases, I have them weekly. In other cases, every other week. And going out for a walk, if possible, of course, if we're in the same location, is helping even more with connecting with the other person. Because you are in I guess in a, I don't know, you are in nature usually if it's in the park, and yeah, the conversation just flows much easier. I really recommend to do one-to-ones out for a walk.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people that were saying I can think better if I do the walking. So walk with me and let's discuss this challenging topic. So like just having to tackle a problem that occurred recently, and we just do the walking and we think together about it, and we walk and we think and we speak and we brainstorm and we do it like while walking, and it really helped to let the ideas flow more naturally. But also this tool of recurrent one-on-one, probably people feel more comfortable to share things, right? Because again, we've been discussing about this a lot. It's the same person that it's at home and at work, and sometimes we blame people in teams if they are not delivering something, but we don't know what's behind the scenes. We don't know that maybe they were facing some health issues in the family and they haven't been sleeping for 3 days, and we're just looking at the results. Okay, so these tests are not okay, or this was not testing okay. But if I don't do these things and I don't understand what's happening with that person, I cannot take decision like, okay, I'm right, this is how I see it. You might take decision like taking out the responsibility from somebody in the team and shifting it to somebody else, or as you said, you can find people that are willing to move from tech to leadership, for example, right? What are other things that you can find out while doing one-on-ones and walking?
So for sure there is the career conversation element. It's also an opportunity for me to, let's say, download information to my team members, strategic decisions or, future direction. It's an opportunity to hear about, their motivation, what is that they enjoy doing, their challenges as well, and how can I help with those challenges, or, find the right person to help with those challenges. And given the speed of change that is happening in organizations, I think it's really needed to have this, weekly or every other week one-to-ones, because otherwise, there will be a disconnect from the manager and from the employees, or from the company and from the employees, if this exchange of information is not happening so often.
Does it work remote too?
Oh, yes.
Can you do the walking while remote, or when you're remote, it's always camera on and you have to stay still in front of the camera? How does it work for you?
It's mostly camera on. I try to convince some of my team members, okay, you're in Edinburgh or London and I'm in Copenhagen. Let's walk at the same time.
So it can be camera on, but you can walk while have the camera on, right?
Yeah. Not everyone is so open for the walk part. I guess it's because if you have back-to-back meetings, then it's a bit hard to plan your walk.
Yeah, I mean, I, I I've been doing it like sometimes we have technical grooming and I'm outside in the nature and my dog is running around, and I remember we had really useful sessions and we were doing even code review together. Like I was having a tablet in front of me and I was able to see the screen while doing the walking around, and we really had good results out of that meetings. And indeed, there were people like, "Are you really sure you want to do this?" Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not having some fun in a bar while being in that meeting, right? I'm not outside eating in a noisy area or something. I'm just out there in the nature, and
Yeah, I
it
think
can.
it's very much related to, I guess, reinventing how we work.
Yeah,
We've been
indeed.
so used with, being at a desk with your
And it's like a
computer.
process.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is like the digital transformation that we are facing for our workplace, right? I've been read about this too. Initially, when we were discussing about digital transformation, we were discussing only about having tools that provide us some functional needs, right? But now it's more about the aspirational. It's more about the organizational culture. It's more about the productivity of the employees that are distributed and remote. And what you are sharing with us, it's really a good tool to accomplish this, right?
I hope so. And another example, for example, right, leadership has to communicate with their employees. So instead of having everyone on their computer watching a town hall or a presentation, what if that information could be part of an internal podcast of the company that people can listen while they walk.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we will see more of this in the future.
Does it always have to come from the leadership, or is also the other way around, can come from the people in the team, but the leadership has to be open to new ideas and try to understand and implement them in the company?
I actually think that a lot of change that we will see in the next years in terms of how we work, and it will come from the employees. It will be more of bottom up.
Yeah.
Also because the newer generation that comes into the work field. They will have different rules and different ways of thinking and using technology, and
And you can tell them what to do, right? You can just give some direction, but they have to hit their head in the wall and after that take the decision, and we have to be open to this. Yeah, a lot of interesting ideas that you shared with us. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you and you want to add, or maybe like a closing message to our viewers?
well, we touched on AI, we touched on ways of working and leadership. I guess we covered everything.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Dana, for doing this. Thank you for being our guest today. And thank everyone for watching us. We were live at Romanian Testing Conference 2023. I'm Alex Mochoi, your host. This is first season of Shift Happens. See you in the next episode, and watch us soon on YouTube, Facebook, and all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and others. Thank you.